Last night someone said to me, how long do I wait before I see change? How long do I wait before I just put a fork in it and consider walking away? And I got to tell you, the answer is not an easy one. In fact, my answer to you is I don't know. I've heard some stories and I've said to myself, if I had done those things, I'm convinced Samantha would have in no way waited that long or allowed me to go back and forth and do that. I just don't at any level think that she would have tolerated it. Then I've heard some things where, an unfaithful spouse did this and this, and I've gone, man, I wish I did that. That's like phenomenal. That's huge. That's impressive. And I did a lot of things right, and I can take absolutely none of the credit because I listened to a couple of mentors. I got some of the best help in the literal world through Rick and our EMS weekend, and I had some great mentors. I just kind of did what they said, but I was bottoming out. So I don't know how long you wait before you drop the hammer and say enough is enough. I just don't know, but here's some guidelines. Here's some things that may help you. Upon disclosure, you're kind of in that initial, what we call discovery phase. Samantha called it the, oh my gosh, you've ruined my life, I hate you phase. And that's where you're kind of like, the unfaithful's like, oh crap, she knows. It's when the affair comes out. It's the sobering up period. It's kind of the, oh man, the life I've been living, this fantasy, this fiasco, this double life is now becoming exposed. And there's this initial period where the fog is kind of dissipating. The confusion is slowly but surely starting to whittle away, and you're coming up for air because for the most part, the unfaithful spouse has been drowning. It's in this phase that you hope to get help, but a lot of couples don't. And I'm not judging you for that. I mean, there's life, there's kids, there's finances, there's who do you go to and where do you go? But it's in this phase that you're just kind of like, man, if you're the betrayed, it's a kick in the teeth. It's just a stunning of what has my life come to? If you're the unfaithful, it's the rug has been ripped out from underneath you, the joke is over, you can't lie anymore, you can't deceive anymore. And at this phase, it's really too early to tell. And Samantha was devastated, we all were, and immediately she ran to what do I do now? And good counsel was like, hey, hold on, you don't know. And that kind of brings you to the second phase. And the second phase is, for Samantha, it was a wait and see, and then I'll make my decisions. For a lot of spouses, it's a, okay, here's what we're going to do. Samantha called it the, I really, really hate you still, and I hate what you've done, but I'm willing to consider options. Good name for this phase. And at this phase, you really hope to be getting quality help. You really hope to be getting expert help for insight, for knowledge, for wisdom, for direction, for do's, for don'ts, for guidelines on what you should be doing. You're still a train wreck. You're still a mess. You still are stumbling and bumbling and fumbling and trying to get through the day. But at this particular point, you're hopefully starting to get some help. Hopefully the unfaithful's not going back and forth, but maybe they have. You're hoping that all disclosure is out and all the details are out. And some of you betrayeds are laughing right now because there's no way that that happened with your story. And I'm incredibly apologetic that that has not gone the way it should. Now let me say, mid-vlog disclaimer. There's guidelines, there's guideposts, there's theoretically it should go this way, but if it didn't, and if it's not, and if it hasn't, it is okay. It sucks. It hurts like hell. But every situation is so different. You can't put every situation in a box. I wish that the unfaithful spouse would have come clean first time, everything out, and you move on down the road. It would make it 100 times easier. But I know that that doesn't happen. I know that, not all the time anyway. And I know that sometimes spouses go back and forth to their affair partners or their addiction, and it sucks and it's gut-wrenching. But it happens. And all you can do is adjust. And you need to watch some of the other video blogs on consequences and ultimatums and things of that nature. But eventually, you'll come to the next phase. This was the phase that Samantha calls the, I don't hate you as much, but I still hate what you've done, and I'm starting to try and love you again. It's a catchy phrase for that good little name tag there. But at this point, you're starting to do some recovery work. You're decompressing. The everyday tension and pressure is starting to dissipate, and you're starting to see some positive movement, some positive ground being gained, some positive hope to hold on to. If you're not, after the previous stages or phases in getting help, and if you're not seeing some change, if you're not seeing some growth, I got to tell you, at this point, I would legitimately be concerned. I would really consider getting some expert advice, opinion, and some, praying if you're a praying person. But at this phase, if you're not seeing some change, if you're not seeing some good forward progress, if you're not seeing some good forward momentum, then I got to tell you, from being on the unfaithful side, something's probably wrong. And there's a litany of things that could be wrong. I don't know. It would take me 30 blogs to tell you all the different things that could be going on. But at this stage of the game, after hopefully discovery and hopefully starting to gain some momentum and hopefully getting some recovery work in, if there isn't some change, if there isn't some empathy or some remorse and some humility and some really deep-seated change within the DNA of the marriage, I would be concerned. You say, well, how long is this? It could be 6 months, it could be a year, but there better have been some change by the time you get to this phase, because if not, you may be overlooking some pretty significant red flags.